women had so much to talk about because the dialogue on so many of our issues was controlled by men.
There's some of you who reject men altogether. They won't sit in the same room with a man if they can avoid it. Are you two of those ladies?
We think there's going to be a struggle, and we don't think that men are going to give up their power and privilege easily.
The women's movement, the sexual revolution, and the gay liberation movement all had their origins before the 70s, but the 70s were when Americans had to make sense of them in their daily lives and in their institutions and communities.
Women's liberation is only one of a number of groups, ranging from stridently militant to traditionally feminist, who feel that women haven't yet won their rights. They don't constitute a majority of women, but their numbers are growing.
Wow. It was a time when women came together and got a lot done. Collectively, they fought for equality. It was a beautiful thing. But here's the reality. Women are still fighting for equality today, and in my opinion, we're also fighting amongst ourselves. Here's the latest example. There's this online feud between Taylor Swift and Nicki Minaj. It started out as a fight over who should be nominated for the best video at the Video Music Awards, but it quickly devolved into a woman versus woman thing. Here's Katy Perry's tweet. She tweeted this, quote, "Finding it ironic to parade the pit women against other women argument as one unmeasurably capitalizes on the takedown of a woman." So let's talk about that and more with Terry O'Neill. She's the president for the National Organization for Women. Welcome, Terry.
Thanks. It's great to see you.
It's nice to have you here. So we have come a long way. I want to make that clear. I mean, we've achieved amazing things in just, since the 1970s, but we still have a ways to go. And one of the most disturbing aspects of, modern times to me is this woman versus woman thing. It just persists, and I don't know why.
Carol, I think that part of the reason it persists is we have come a long way in the sense that if you heard back in the 70s, a majority of women were not all on board, did not all call themselves feminists. Now a vast majority of women do. We are seeing, however, in our society right now, and it is really bubbling up in a big way, unsustainable, really intolerable disparities among women. Disparities across racial lines among women in health outcomes, in wealth, in income. And those are the issues that feminists today are really having to address, and having to address in a big way. And let me just give you an example. I don't worry for my daughter, who is white-skinned, that when she gets pulled over in a traffic stop, that she could end up dead in a jail cell. But my African-American friends who are moms and dads have to worry about that for their daughters and their sons. That's not acceptable, and that is something that the feminist movement is absolutely must grapple with immediately.
Yeah, and the feminist movement is grappling with it, but there are plenty of women who don't call themselves feminists these days, and I think that's perfectly fine. I think there's a split between those women who kind of believe the same things, but really can't see eye to eye to fight these common things that you talk about.
I think as between individual women, women are allowed to be competitive. And so I look at the Nicki Minaj versus Taylor Swift. I don't know a lot of the details about it, but clearly competition is alive and well. And that's fine. I do think that one of the things that must unite us is our understanding of how different our life experiences are. And that's got to shape our way of understanding our competition and understanding the ways in which I really think we need to think carefully about what we consider to be succeeding. Right? Succeeding is not always defeating somebody else. Succeeding is sometimes taking a step back and saying, gee, what are the real goals here? What are my real values here? And how do I want to behave in accordance with my true values? I think most people, men and women, agree that women should have full equality. And within that value system, that's how you approach issues of individual competition. We're not there yet, and there is, let's face it, there is huge white privilege throughout this country. And women who identify as feminists are more and more coming to understand that this racial privilege needs to be addressed.